Good evening. Happy Easter to those out there who celebrate. This is Module 5, Barriers to the Web 2.0, and I am Prentice Potts. So, summary of articles the four articles, two videos that were on the module, I thought were all very, very interesting. I thought they talked a lot about school culture, digital divide, lack of training, and basically the achievement gap. Out of those, I think during his presentation, you'll probably hear lack of training or just lack thereof that is offered in our district and my school building is something that I'll refer to a lot. Digital divide as well, and the achievement gap. So the digital divide and the resolution, in my opinion, this cannot be closed. It can be narrowed, but it'll never be closed. I recall an instance that I had with my own mother before she passed, of how far she was behind on just simple things like creating a resume. She didn't even know that there were templates on the computer or laptop that she could just pull up and use as a reference or even just fill in to create her own resume. So, just looking now at where we're at, I think the biggest thing you see is certain kids know how to do things through social media, but if you ask them to do something with Excel or a software like that, they struggle. The other thing is privilege versus low expectancy or low income. I think sometimes people can't afford things as simple as the internet, and that is going to place them behind the curve a little bit. Exposure is a huge part. When we purchased our house, we had to wait almost, I think it was 4 weeks, 4 to 5 weeks before the the internet company who we use came out and established a cable line. So um, we're not even in a rural area, so it just kind of tells you that the people that are in situations like that are going to be put kind of further behind. So the thing that we have to do is we have to give them more exposure. So places you can give them exposure at: school, work, obviously the library. And I think in a lot of cases, especially in the African American community, um, children don't take advantage of the library enough. So 21st century student skills, what I think they need to be successful prior to graduation. I think they have to be critical thinkers. Teamwork and collaboration is huge. I don't know of any job or college where you're not going to be asked to work with somebody else to accomplish a goal. And they're also going to be good problem solvers. Uh, the other four that I think are vital, very, very vital, and I try to teach these every day in my classroom: typing. A lot of kids struggle to type, even knowing where the homeroom, or excuse me, the home row keys are, which is a struggle. Online etiquette, how to send proper emails, greetings, um, proper tone in emails. I think sometimes they get carryover from how they text to how they write an email, and it's not the same. And then basic software knowledge, which is Microsoft Excel, Microsoft Word, Publisher, things like that, PowerPoint, and even now Google Slides. I think they need to have a solid base for those things. And then just overall use of the internet. Um, you know, I deal with a lot of athletes, and if you ask them how to look up somebody's highlights, they can do that. But if you ask them how to research a paper, they struggle with just small concepts like that. So the impact of the global economy, what it's had on me. Well, I'm a business teacher. My major is business management and human relations. Um, so I've tried to make my classroom a business environment. I'm also a lifelong learner. I have my undergrad, my master's, and now I'm working on my certification for my admin. So the internet has played a huge, huge role in my life and my success. I'm also a coach, so I use things like Huddle. I've used things when I coached at the collegiate level that allowed me to, do stats and watch film and break down film and things like that. So, and then my overall personal life outside of coaching and teaching, we all shop on the internet, whether it be Amazon, eBay, Craigslist, things of that sort. Maybe looking up things for movies or things like that, anything of the nature. So just shopping and entertainment is where I usually get my typical usage for the internet. So training on technology in our building, Washington itself, I think overall update, training on the current technology. We try to do seminars, but it's not enough. And it's usually a teacher that comes up with an idea and they go in and present maybe how to start a new grade book in School Loop. I think things like that have to be ongoing so teachers can become more efficient in how they use these programs. And I think they need training on basic software such as Excel, Microsoft Word. The MacBook is completely different from an HP. Those are things that they should be trained on before they are even given the equipment to use. The one-on-one MacBook training, I think teachers need to be better equipped in how to troubleshoot certain issues with students' laptops or even their own personal laptops instead of sending them to the computer tech, which I think she's flooded on a day-to-day basis because of the amount of students that have to come see her for something minor. So, district equipped for the 21st century. Um, yes and no. Yeah, we have the one-to-one MacBook, Chromebook. Our SPED department is the only department in the building that's equipped with smart boards. Um, our textbooks are outdated. So in my classroom, what I did was first year, I think I paid for a program which was online interactive learning. It was called Applied Education System. As of now, I think there's maybe 4 or 5 other teachers in the building that are using it, but it was something that we got approved through our CTE director. So there's, allotted funding for it now each year. Uh, I'd be interested to see or know how many teachers in our district actually use it, but it's very very helpful. It gives a curriculum, but then you can incorporate your own curriculum and also add on to some of the interactive learning that goes on within there. And we've also recently got approved for a $230 million bond, and that's going to help upgrade the CTE and the science department for every school in our district. It's actually going to build, I believe, 1 new middle school, 2 new elementary schools, and total renovation for those 2 departments in every high school in our district. So I'm kind of excited to see. I'm actually in the process of transferring to another school in our district because I'm the head coach there for boys basketball. So um, yeah, I'm excited to see how it turns out. So, innovative practices that I see within the schools, collaborative learning with students, some of the things that I use personally, uh, Google Docs, things like that. A lot of the Google apps. Another way I've been out of the building or home with my own children, and I've used Skype to give kids a better understanding of maybe a lesson or a project that they have to complete. I've also used Apple TV and the iPad. Students are able to airdrop their Mac or even their iPhones if they have them when doing presentations. So I think that's ways of collaborative learning with technology. I think another thing that we as teachers need to do more of, and I think we've started this, but I think it's just something that needs to be ongoing and I guess a little bit more needs to be deeper as far as creating more rigor in the curriculum and lessons. Is cross curricular planning between teachers. I know currently right now in our pathways, or excuse me, academies, we've started this. 3 or 4 teacher groups have kind of combined and started trying to, do science and social studies or math and business, things like that. So, online learning, students are able to do that through Google Classroom. They're also able to do it through School Loop. Um, some of the other things that we have to offer are college courses in our building, which it's called AccuPlacer. Basically, the local community college instructors come and actually teach college courses in the building and offer online courses that help the students get college credits. And then, everything we're doing now is more student centered versus teacher centered, like the traditional ways. And I think these are very, very creative ways to bring technology into the classroom. Some of the disadvantages I see, and I think this is just, I guess me being kind of fed up with our leadership, but it's a direction. I think a lot of times teachers get confused or even frustrated because we'll start something and maybe go at it for a year or two, and then all of a sudden we're changing up and trying to switch this to this, or for instance, um, and I know I'm jumping ahead, but it's unprofessional to me, in my opinion. We recently were pathways, and then we changed to academies. So students were very, very confused as far as why we were changing. How does this affect their credits? Does it affect their credits? Is it going to affect how when they can graduate? Are they going to take additional courses? Are they behind the curve now? So there's a lot of things that go on when you start to reconfigure things, and I think sometimes it's not fully planned out. I think, a lot of times it feels like it's almost a year to year, base thing that we're doing. But maybe that's because I'm not in those meetings and plan periods of, administrators and district reps when they decide to switch from one thing to another. But just the biggest thing is consistency. Because if teachers are confused, more than likely students are going to be confused as well. So, cyberbullying in our building, this is a huge, huge, huge problem. Um, you know, we've had to incorporate, things like ISS. ISS was actually taken out of our building for the last 5 years, maybe 6 years. Next year, it is being implemented again because of the amount of out of school suspensions we have had. We've also had to change the rules in a code of conduct book because of cyberbullying. And basically, it is if anything is ever put on the internet, social media, anything about another student, and they've used a school issued computer, then they can be liable. Even if they use the school's internet, they're liable. But this is huge. I mean, it's affected our discipline as far as what we've had to hand down as punishment to students. So cyberbullying, I think, is something that has to be fixed. It has to be changed in order to make huge steps in advancing in technology in classrooms. So my own personal reflection is, going back to really the articles and talking about, the school culture. One of our things in our school is we deal with more, tardiness and just overall discipline. So it's tough for us to even get into being innovative as far as in the classroom because, you have students, we have multiple students who have over 100, over 300 tardies. Um, and that's something that starts before they even get to school. So in our building, our district, I think we're dealing with a different problem than some are in most districts. So the achievement gap, the culture, or the digital divide. How do we close that? It's difficult if kids aren't disciplined or able to get where they need to be on time. So thank you for listening.